All right, we're live. Welcome to Mile High Recovery Chat. I'm Brice from Mile High Continuing Care. I'm here with Gabe Cohen from, what is it, Discovery Cafe, right?
Yeah, that's my latest project. Sure, we can start there.
So let's talk about you a little bit. I have a feeling, and I know you've been in recovery for a while, and I'm interested in like how people get clean and what people do when they get clean. And I know you contacted me about a year ago about sober housing. You were looking to, I got the sense that you wanted to open a sober house, but I really got the sense that you were looking for something to do. You were looking for like, what am I going to do? What is Gabe going to do?
Wow, that's pretty powerful, man.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty insightful. I mean, that was it basically. And you know, previous to us coming on live, we were having that conversation about like having to stay busy, right? And that personality that I think you and I both share. Yeah, I mean, well, where do you want me to start?
I don't know. So like I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the criminal justice system helped you in your road to recovery, correct?
Yeah, you know, that's great. Yeah, that's a good jumping off point, especially for me and really with the work that I do today, part of the work that I do today. But yeah, I mean, I was I'll give you the shortest version I can, but 15 years old. I grew up in New York. I'm from Long Island, you know, I'm from back east, and middle class, suburbia, you know, mom and dad, not into drugs, not into alcohol. But, you know, we had our dysfunction, and I had some trauma as a kid, and just started getting high as a teenager, got arrested for the first time, actually for a shooting when I was 15. And that gave me my first taste of the criminal justice system. Really just, you know, I had good lawyer, on probation, but that same year, 15 years old, mom was devastated by my arrest and what I did, and I was off and running with cocaine, man. Just got strung out. My heroes, you know, in the neighborhood were those guys with the gold chains and the Corvettes, and you know, that's who I looked up to. So yeah, fast forward, started smoking crack when I was 18, was selling dresses out of the back of my car in Ozone Park, Queens, and running with a pretty dangerous crowd. And I have an uncle in Denver, downtown Denver, and he said, "Hey man, we got to get you out of there. What are you doing?" And yeah, I wanted a way out. I was ripping people off, doing stuff that crackheads do. He probably saved my life. So one-way ticket, came to Denver, and started going to NA. He had a friend of the program. There, I don't know if it's still there, but there was a little clubhouse on 3rd and Broadway back in the day. And I used to go to these meetings. I'm talking like 1990.
Yeah.
And I lasted 6 weeks, stayed sober. The deal was you stay sober at our house, find a job, and if you want to go back to New York at any time, you pay your way back. And within 6 weeks, I relapsed and found myself kicked out, homeless for the first time in my life, but knew where to find crack on East Colfax. So I was 19 years old, homeless on East Colfax, and that kind of started my pathway into being in and out of the Colorado Department of Corrections 7 times, kind of in that revolving door of, you know, would get out, broke, homeless, want to be sober, but really just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
You know, and I was on that revolving door. I just could never complete parole. I just kept, you know, missing appointments or getting high, or I cut off an ankle bracelet. I got 2 years for that. And I really wasn't. I mean, in my opinion,
I don't need to laugh.
What's that?
I don't need to laugh.
No, it's okay. I'm laughing. You know, no, I can laugh at myself today for sure. But yeah, I mean, just knucklehead stuff, you know, just like wouldn't comply. And so I went through, I mean, I got a housing voucher at one time through Stout Street Clinic. I went through that. I mean, it was great. I used to diagnose bipolar, PTSD. I was on lithium and trazodone and used to go to the clinic and get my meds and did that whole circuit, slept at Jesus Saves, Crossroads. I mean, I was on and off the triangle for years, man. I'm very familiar with downtown Denver.
I see guys like you every day down here, just in active addiction.
Yeah, man. It's 24/7, right?
Yeah. The crack is still here.
What's that?
The crack is still here.
Well, I don't miss it. That's for sure.
It's still here.
I love knowing.
So it's like anybody who's, I don't know, had a crack addiction or known somebody with a crack addiction, it's all drama and it's chaos and it never ends. And you never get a break and your family never gets a break if they're trying to help you. And so I kind of think like going to prison is probably like a really good way to like sit down and like stop, right?
Yeah, that's pretty insightful.
Yeah, I had a problem with crack myself.
Oh, did you? So you kind of understand. Yeah, there were times honestly, I mean, I can say, and I'm just speaking for myself that, being incarcerated has, I think definitely saved my life. I mean, there were times where I've probably at least twice that I can remember where I just turned myself in. Like, I was just tired. There was warrants out. I didn't want it. I would, like I had enough. I was hungry, tired, strung out, and I would turn myself in, and knowing that I had probably at least a year or another 2 to do, depending on if I'd get paroled again. But I was comfortable in that environment. And it was, and I wasn't in the gangs or anything like that. It was just, I functioned well when I was in prison. I went to the library, I read, I worked out, I didn't get caught up in all the BS that goes on. It was when I got out when I didn't really know how to function and what to do with myself,
So, yeah, no, I get it. And it's like, once you're in the system, it's hard to get out because like you said, you'd be on probation and they'd say, if you can stay clean for 2 years or whatever it is, you'll be free. And it's almost like, let me just do the time.
Yeah.
Trying to stay clean for 2 years is like just brutal, right? And so, but
yeah,
at some point you must have had, because we all do, in my opinion, some sort of an internal shift where you just didn't want to do it anymore, and you got hope from something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think the big turning point for me, and I don't really, I can't really. It wasn't like the skies opened and I saw this bright light, or and I've done the 12 steps but I'm a Christian guy, and really got into that, but I was still an addict. But it was like 2011, and my oldest son, I had 2 teenage boys at the time, and basically missed their entire childhood, and my oldest son was a senior in high school, and it was the first. This was my 7th time in prison, and I was finally going to be released off parole, no paper, but I was 40 years old, broke, no money in the bank. Didn't know where I was going to go. But the whole time I was in and out of jail and on the streets, it crushed me what I did to my 2 sons. And I just kind of made up my mind. I didn't, and granted, that was 2011. I do not have 10 years clean. So it was there was still the struggle ahead of me. But in 2011, I really made up my mind. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I got a bus ticket, and I came up to Glenwood Springs, where my kids were in high school, and I thought I need to develop a relationship with my sons before it's too late. That was really the motive. I mean, there was nothing restraining me to stay in Denver. I wasn't on paper, And so I stayed at a hostel. I went to, it's now called Mine Springs, but it used to be called Colorado West. It was like the mental health facility up here. They had a 2-hour duly diagnosed group twice a week.
Outpatient treatment group.
Yeah, twice a week for 2 hours. And in prison, I was on SSI. So I knew I would have like a small monthly check. I didn't have to worry about working. I could just focus on my recovery and just doing whatever it took. And our common bond, imagine it's like, hey, dad's here. And I'm expecting them, when they were 4 and 6, they'd be all excited that dad was here. But now they got girlfriends. It's like, I haven't been around in 10 years.
They got problems of their own. They're paying rent.
Yeah, I'm trying to be cool, and like, I don't have a car, but they got a car, dad's got a backpack and he's on the bus, type of thing. Yeah. But I was always into lifting weights and working out and dabbled in martial arts over the years. So I bought them some gear and there was a kickboxing class. And so that was kind of our bond. And yeah, man, I have a good relationship with both of them today. And I'm remarried now. I have an 8-year-old son. It's a couple grandkids. So my life's much different, but yeah, I would get, so the last 10 years, just to kind of, I'd get a year clean and then I'd get complacent. No program, I didn't want to work the steps, or I didn't need the steps, or I didn't need this or that. I got this now. And within a couple months, boom, I would just fall. And so there were several years of 18 months, 6 months, 2 years, where I kept, and when I would relapse, like they say, it's no joke, right? You're right back where you started. If not, it's worse.
Right where you left off, you pick up. Right where you left off, right?
Yeah, man.
But it's like it's real. What you're saying is real, and what you're saying, what I'm hearing, is that you just kept trying. You just didn't give up. You just kept trying, and it does. It's great to be able to sit around and say, I've been sober for 50 years, but who cares, right? It's not a no drinking or a no using contest. It's your life. If you have 2 years clean and you're still going, that's great, right? It's like you just have to keep trying. A relapse is not the end of the world, right? Yeah. And so let's move into because like I said, when you contacted me, I could just sense that you were looking for your purpose, right?
Sure.
And I believe that's missing. I know it's addressed somewhere in the steps, God's will, the power to carry that out, or whatever in step 11. But talking about your actual purpose, giving back, and maybe, if you're lucky enough to make a living from doing that, and that's what you were looking for. At least that's what I felt.
Yeah. So let me, just a little backstory. So about 2012, I went from being on SSI and I worked with vocational rehab, worked on a business plan to get tools, started a small construction company. And then I used that money to pursue my Krav Maga, which is Israeli self-defense training. Got my black belt by the time I was 46, started teaching classes here. But really, I was kind of focused, not so much on giving back, but on trying to turn this into money. Yeah. And then I got, and I wanted to be in the security field, and I got into that. And that's why I just kept kind of spinning my wheels, because I wasn't focused on really my recovery. And I think really my calling, which was to use my past to try to help other people. And so about 2018, I kind of hit it pretty big. I'm internationally recognized. I got recently, 2019, I got in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. I got 12 affiliates across the country, 2 affiliates in Europe, 2 in South America. I've traveled all over teaching. But 2018, doing celebrity protection up in Aspen and still dabbling in cocaine. I relapsed, and I got rhabdomyolysis and my kidney shut down. And I was hospitalized. I was hospitalized for OD'd and hospitalized for 6 days. Didn't know if I was going to come out of the hospital. And that's when basically, you know, my higher power, God, basically was like, you can't be on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
You know, and I had just started. I literally just got my volunteer. I just went through my volunteer training at the sheriff's department. You know, I'm a 3-time convicted felon, and I started going in the jails with Celebrate Recovery, but I wanted to start my own Bible study and tell my own story and not just kind of do my thing. So I started a ministry, and I got into the jail. 2 weeks after I got into the jail is when I OD'd. And that's when I was like, okay, it's all or nothing. So then I went back to AA because there was a meeting here that worked. I got a sponsor. This is 2018. And I've been in recovery ever since. And then got into Garfield County Jail, Eagle County Jail, started volunteering at the parole department. They needed a treatment provider. So I'm contracted with a therapist, CAC2, got a third-party Medicaid provider. So now I'm the treatment provider for the parole department here in Garfield County. That's my for-profit business. And that's when I basically reached out to you and I was like, I want a sober living house. I want to do this. The hardest thing for me up here, I was exploring it, going after it. I did my recovery coach training. I actually went to go work for Mind Springs for a few months. But there was just too much bureaucracy. Like,
I hear you,
man.
Yeah,
it was, you know, I knew people. This is a small community I live in. I'm on the Western Slope, you know.
I know, but it's easier for me to open up a dispensary than it is to open a sober house in the city of Denver, dude. Like I could be selling weed, no problem.
Yeah, well, you know, it was like the biggest obstacle that I found and still find is finding the right landlord. Housing's hard enough to find up here and it's expensive, but finding a landlord that says, oh yeah, go ahead, put a bunch of drug addicts in it and felons. And so I was looking to do that. And I was talking to a pastor here locally and he was like, how about job training? He goes, I got a full kitchen. You can use my space. And that's when I came across, I was like, okay, well, I never ran a coffee shop or a luncheonette, but I want to do recovery coaching out of it. And maybe we can combine the two. And somebody said, you should check out the Recovery Cafe Network. They're based out of Seattle. So I checked them out. You know, I Googled it, looked cool, sent them an email. We did a couple meetings and I was like, cool, man. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. These people will help me, show me how to do this. It's like a recovery community center, basically, right? Recovery community organization. And I went back to that pastor with this plan. I'm like, hey, I can get into this network, and he didn't want to do it. He's like, no, we can't be busing like drug addicts into our town, and there's no homeless here, and it's not going to work. You know, maybe down in Rifle, Colorado, which is about 20 miles down the road, because they need something like that. So now I had no building, no money, didn't know how I was going to do it. And it was like $2,500. I got a scholarship to buy into the Recovery Cafe Network. And just on faith, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'll do it. And I did it. And then they granted me $100,000 over the next 2 years to make this happen.
Nice.
Like I didn't even know it was going to happen like that. And so, yeah, now I'm at CMC Rifle Campus and I have full use of the gym. I've got 5 computers set up. I'm going to try to network with community corrections. My parole clients are coming. We just opened the doors February 22nd. It's pretty cool, man.
It's really cool.
Getting an education.
It's really cool, man, because that's like how you find your purpose. You just start exploring. Like you can't envision the end product. You got to just like take one step and then the universe will rearrange the way it's supposed to. And then you'll look back and you'll be like, wait, I got a little money in the bank. I'm helping people. I'm giving back. And there's like a ripple effect. Man. They'll go help some people. And then probably more funding will come to you and you can get bigger, right?
Yeah. And actually I just, I've got a couple grant applications. I'm getting an education on how to do that, of course.
It sucks.
I mean, I rented in December, I rented a building downtown, Rifle, and the neighbors got all pissed off. I know you know all about that.
Yeah.
No, and the landlord dropped me from the lease. I was in there repainting the place like all the way to Christmas Eve just to get my money back. That was just, a few months ago. But I think the big thing is the tenacity. You just don't give up, the perseverance, and something I definitely want to just share and put out there, just to back up a little bit, is that, this all came about because I started out volunteering and just being of service, just showing up just consistently. And it's like I had to, because on paper, I don't look that good, right? I mean, my criminal record's like 10 pages long, right? But I had to build that like social resume in my community that, hey, maybe this is what I used to do, but look what I'm doing today, and just started showing up at community meetings and just being of service. And and now I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, but like your resume, your rap sheet, that's why you can connect. That's why any of these guys are going to trust you in the first place. My father, God bless him, he wouldn't be able to do what you do. He wouldn't be able to connect. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like,
yeah. And what's very, of course it's very redeeming, and what feels really good too is I've got some of that grant money. I've put 6 people, I think 4 of them have been my parole clients through recovery coach training, and now they're being of service to other people. And now I'm hiring. I'm about to hire 2 part-time people, and then in contract with a couple others to help me move my program forward. So I'm also, the people that were all mad at me for wanting to open this up in their town. I mean, if anything, they were worried that because I wasn't a retail business and wasn't going to be generating any money, I'm actually helping the local economy by putting people to work. And now with this grant money, something I didn't know is you have to get it by a certain time, and you have to spend it by a certain time. So I'm going to spend it as much as I can locally with the local small businesses in our town too.
That's good. I like it, man. It's like, I don't care if you're the most expensive treatment center of the world or like something like what you do. The end goal is the same. You're trying to give people their lives back, right? Like, hey, we want a high quality life. We want to be happy. We want to have, be dads and do that kind of stuff. And
like you were saying, man, I really like that you identified the fact of, it's not, in recovery, it's so much, we've been through so much trauma. I've just known a lot of people that they're really focusing on that and like white knuckling it to stay sober. And as a recovery coach, it's really trying to help people find like, okay, if you had a crystal ball and you could do anything right now, what would you want to do? How can we help you do that? Like what was your dream before your addiction took everything? And how can we go back there? Or how can we create something new? You know what I mean? So it's really just helping them find that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Helping others.
Right. And like what you've identified, it's like, and I identified it too. When I started giving back, like I opened my first sober house, I didn't even know I would have a career. I thought I would just give back. And then somebody told me what you could charge. And I was like, you can charge that much, really? And then I kept opening houses. But like, I just got filled up by giving back and helping people. And when I'm in that moment and I'm doing it, I'm not thinking about using. I'm not thinking about trauma. I'm not thinking about what, like whatever happened to me when I was a kid or whatever. I'm just there. I'm just doing it. Right.
Yeah.
But it's fleeting because I got to wake up the next day and I got to do it again. Or else.
Yeah, it can definitely be draining. It's exhausting, and self-care is right. I'm learning about that, especially this year, because this is turning into I'm working 7 days a week some weeks, and really having to focus on, okay, you need to take a break. You need to really just take some me time and not feel guilty about it, because there's so many people that I want to help and be a service of. And of course you learn those hard lessons of like, I guess just like, our parents used to feel, right? Like you could want it all you want for somebody else, but unless they want it, there's not, all you can do is make yourself available. And sometimes that hurts, man.
Yeah, you can't want it more than them, or you're going to end up in Al-Anon, dude.
Well said, right?
You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah, and like what with my business, I hit like peaks, pinnacles, and then I would have to hire people, and then I would offload, and then I'd be able to grow more. But it's like, one year at a time, and you'll just keep growing. It feels like you're kind of in the flow right now.
Yeah, just the fact that I know I'm about to hire 2 part-time people, and I'm about to hire a bilingual person to help me reach out to the Latinx community because I'm really, really excited about something I just really learned about. I mean, I'm not the most educated guy, but the whole, the deal with health equality, right? Health equity and stuff. And there's so many people in the Hispanic community where I live that I can't communicate with. And there's no reason why they shouldn't have access to the same resources as anybody else, And so having the opportunity now to reach out to that community within our community.
That's cool.
It's exciting, and I can't do this alone. It's really just giving other people the opportunity to but it's got to be the right people, as I'm sure you've learned, to kind of jump in the car with me. Right.
Yeah. But like what you're saying is what I've learned is that if I'm doing the right thing and I'm true to my mission and I'm doing it from here, I attract the right people.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Yeah.
They come to me and it's like, how did this person find me? Right.
Right.
Like,
they just appear, right?
Yeah. They just appear and then they become part of it. And then we all share it. And it's like, so I get to work with people I like and people I love, and we're doing the same thing. We're living the 12th step. And I think just that sets us apart from a lot of organizations out there that are in it to make money, And, I know it's a business. Making money is cool. But at the end of the day, like, I want people to get better, and I want to have like kind of a legacy like that, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, well said. I mean, we all like to eat, right? And I like having a roof over my head, and I want to provide and give my children and my grandchildren nice things. But like I didn't get into this for the money, man. And it's pretty cool that like I created a job for myself. Like I'm on my own payroll. Like that's never happened before. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's not about, like I said, I was volunteering for like 2 years straight. And it wasn't about the money. It's still not about the money.
Right. And that's the process of finding your purpose. Is you start doing it because it lights you up.
Yeah,
money will come, I believe. I believe it will come.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people that I have got one guy on one of my parole clients he went to go speak to some teens and share his experience, and he's sober and thriving, and he was on fire, man, in our group. This was a couple months ago, but he was just on fire about his speaking engagement and how good it felt and talking to those kids. And he was like, I want to do that more, and I was like, dude, you're talking to the right guy. Like, how can I, a month later, we had him in recovery coach training, and now he's giving back to the community. And that, to me, that's worth more than my paycheck, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I totally get it, man.
Because he's got his own family and his own kids he's trying to reconnect with. And that's just one person, so that, like you said, that ripple effect. I mean, that's what this is all about, is just giving back and it gives meaning to the past. It helps heal a lot of all those old wounds. And yeah, man, I'm digging it so far. It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be.
I know.
But it's worth it, man. I'm enjoying it.
Right on. Well, dude, I wish you a lot of success, man. Just keep growing. If you ever need any help, you always, reach out to me.
Yeah, you always got back to me, man. And we had a couple conversations, and then I went off and was generating, trying to get to where I'm at now. But it's really nice to reconnect with you. So thank you so much, Brice.
For sure, man. Good luck. Yeah, I wish you well. You're good. You're a good dude.
Thanks, man.
All right. See you
All
later.
right, peace. Thanks a lot, brother. Take care.